Hello and good afternoon. This is Syed Arshad from Kashmir Link, Calgary, Canada. And I have with me Mary Scully, a human rights activist from Texas, USA. Thank you very much, Mary, for joining in this program today.
Thank you.
I have a bad news that Claire Bidwell from UK. She is supposed to join us, but right now she texts me saying that she is stuck in a very bad accident. So I hope that she will join us and we will carry on the program. Uh, the reason we are here today is unfortunately in 21st century we are witnessing another genocide of Palestinian in Israel. Why it is happening, where did it started? Mary, better than me here, because you are anti-war rightist, you are a women rights activist, and you know what is the background. So first of all, what is your feeling? What would you like to share with us, whatever is going on right now in Gaza?
Um, I honestly think I've been involved. I'm proud to say since 1967, since the 1967 war, and I believe this is the most terrifying thing I've ever seen the Palestinians face, because it's very clear that Israel is intent on genocide. I always thought it was genocide. And have called it genocide for a long time. But now it's absolutely clear that they intend, with the aiding and abetting by the United States government, by European governments, and by the inaction of most governments, it intends on exterminating as many Palestinians as they can, not just in Gaza, but in the West Bank. It's a very terrifying moment for the Palestinians. They have remarkable courage. They're an extraordinary people, but they're being bombed, starved, and just merciless savagery against them. Zionism is a colonial ideology, and what they're doing is employing the techniques of European and American colonialism. That's what they're doing. And the really horrible part of it is that the Holocaust, the Nazi Holocaust, was the implementation of colonial methods in Europe, in the metropolitan centers of the colonial countries. It was the implementation of colonialism against European Jews and Roma and others. And now Zionist Israel, which is a colonial entity, is using exactly those same methods in Gaza, in particular in Gaza, but also in the West Bank. The brutalities, the cruelties, it's as barbaric as the European colonialism, American colonialism was in the Pacific Islands and Africa and Asia, in the Philippines. It's as barbaric as that. It's terrifying.
Very well said, Mary. I am from Kashmir, and I'm sure that you know that what is going on in Kashmir.
Yes.
It is absolutely the same mindset. Whatever Butcher Modi is doing in Indian occupied Kashmir, exactly the same pattern, same tactics Benjamin Netanyahu, another criminal, is doing in Gaza right now. My question to you is, as a citizen of USA, and it's too bad that Claire Bidwell was supposed to join us from UK. Subcontinent history, when UK left subcontinent, they created a mess. and we are suffering now as a Kashmiri. Same thing, USA's unconditional support of Israel and help is creating a mess in Palestine right now. Even more than mess, it is genocide of 21st century. So why it is double standard? You know, one part of the world attacking a country is not acceptable. Another part of the world, like in Kashmir or in Palestine, it is okay to go kill the people, just throw them out from their land.
Why is that? Why the double standards on that?
Yes.
I'm not sure, say that there are double standards. The United States talks out of both sides of its mouth on this question. It is clearly and always has been a supporter of Israel against the Palestinians. And it's not because of Jews. It's not because they're concerned about the persecution of Jews and they believe that Jews need their own state in order not to be persecuted. It has nothing to do with the safety of Jews. Because as many people have written about and talked about, when the Holocaust was going on in Europe, the United States was turning away boats of Jewish refugees in the New York harbor. It had nothing to do with the security of Jews. Israel serves a purpose because colonialism is alive and thriving. It isn't ancient history. It serves a purpose. That is, Israel as a military fortress in the Middle East serves a purpose, and that is as a fortification against the liberation struggle of oppressed peoples. Not only Israel, but these reactionary Arab regimes like the Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Syria, Egypt, these regimes that encircle, they are threatened, seriously threatened by Palestinian liberation. And in the same way, I think I'm losing your question here. In the same way that Kashmir is, that's not that they support the liberation struggle in Kashmir, not for one moment. The United States has done absolutely nothing to oppose what Modi has been doing in Kashmir. Absolutely nothing. In fact, it has substantial billion-dollar military and trade agreements with India, because India serves a purpose, a broader purpose in that region, as a bulwark against China. But it's the same thing, as that the Kashmiri anti-colonial struggle threatens these imperial powers, these colonial powers. It threatens their control, their domination. If Kashmiris and Palestinians were to triumph over colonial predations, it would be set off a tremendous chain reaction throughout the rest of the world. That's why you see countries like Brazil or Bolivia or the United States, which has Canada, which have oppressed indigenous populations. That's why you have them giving lip service, but no actual, they don't call for sanctions. They don't sever ties with economic or military ties with Israel or India, because it's a bulwark against these freedom struggles. Because if Kashmir and if Palestine triumphed over colonialism, it would change the relationship of forces internationally to the advantage of the oppressed. And that is not something that they are willing to jeopardize, is the status quo of oppression.
Yeah, that is exactly what it is. And if I share few pictures here, uh,
Were those Palestinian or Kashmiri?
no, these are the children killed
In Palestine.
in
Yes.
Palestine.
Heartbreaking.
this one. And Israel uh, saying that our Western world claiming that Israel is defending
Yeah,
killing these innocent children. That is absolutely no defense or no reason to go and bomb hospitals, schools, churches, mosques, and even ambulances.
ambulances.
Right now, when we are speaking here, over 11,000 people murdered by Israel in Gaza.
Unbelievable.
It was already an open air jail. There was no food, no medicine, no basic facilities. On top of that, that crude, cruel bombardment has killed so many children and women. And you are um, advocating for the rights of women, and women are, I think, the worst when it comes to war or any catastrophe like this. What you will say, what is your argument, or what would you like to see that at least the Western countries, civilized countries, should do to prevent all this happening?
Well, I'm glad you brought up, by the way, the woman question, because I would like to address that at some point. The question of Western feminists on the issue of both Kashmir and Palestine. Um, I actually think that the most important thing for us to do is to try to build a link, to try to build a united anti-colonial movement that links the forces of the Palestinian solidarity with Kashmiri solidarity, which is not as strong but growing, with the Rohingya struggle, to link those struggles into a united anti-colonial movement, because they're not at odds with each other. They can significantly strengthen each other, and especially because Palestinian solidarity is going to come under, it has been under, an increasing attack and attempts to outlaw it. There's going to be attempts to make a Palestinian solidarity threatening. It's going to be considered threatening hate speech. They're going to try to outlaw BDS and anyone who campaigns for it. They're going to try to outlaw Palestinian solidarity events on campus. They're going to threaten students, like they already are, that they'll be blacklisted with future employers. They will try to fire teachers, they already have. Try to threaten them that if they speak out for Palestine or Kashmir, that they will lose their jobs. So this is going to increase. It's been going on. It's going to increase, and what we need to do, as I like to say, because it is so true, the struggle for Palestinian solidarity is now completely, inextricably integrated into the struggle for civil liberties in the United States and in several European countries, where France and Germany, they outlawed protests. They're trying to outlaw criticizing the state of Israel. That's going to be a major fight for us. And I think the strongest reaction is, first, we have to use every weapon in our arsenal, including litigation. We're going to have to develop a whole new layer of human rights lawyers who can take these challenges on in the courts and not tolerate it. We have a Bill of Rights here. People have constitutions where they have the right to speak. We have to absolutely fight this tooth and nail, like they are in Europe. They outlaw protests and they come out even larger. Excuse me. But I think that we need to consolidate and unify Palestinians with Kashmiris, with Rohingya, with Uyghur. It won't be easy to do that, but it's possible and necessary to do that, because colonialism is gaining the upper hand. It's no longer something that, it's, and when I first joined a Palestinian Solidarity, it was had a very different character. Zionism was not as strong in the Jewish community. It wasn't as hateful. It wasn't as aggressive. It wasn't as victim, a victimy. It wasn't like that. It was, you could actually talk to Zionists and have a collaborative discussion. That's not possible anymore when they're justifying genocide. And so I think that the most important thing is that we take a stand and fight every single initiative to outlaw us or silence us, and that we try to forge unity in action, not just verbally, but unity in action.
Yes, very right. The reason I just want to rephrase my previous question, when it comes to the double standard, and especially very disappointing from Western countries, the civilized world. Why I was asking that question, Russia attacked Ukraine. That is very condemnable, not acceptable that one country one day decided that, okay, you will go and invade or attack another independent country. Here we are, almost all the Western countries, including USA, UK, Canada, they are all helping Ukraine and condemning Russia. When it comes to Palestine, or when it comes to Kashmir, uh, that there is worse than this one. I'm saying that one life to lose is one too many, but in Ukraine, there are only around 500 children got murdered. In 31 or 32 days, we see almost more than 5,000 children got killed by Israeli bombardment in Gaza. And here we are, even not bother to feed those children or to give them water or basic necessity of life. So that is what I am like. Most of the people see that this is the double standard, this is the hypocrisy. We are not talking about equal human rights, or if something, one part of the world is wrong, then another part of the world it is okay just to ignore it.
Yes. One is a war, and two are genocides.
Yeah, that
Kashmiris
is
and
exactly what it is.
Palestinians are unarmed. They're unarmed.
Yeah.
They're completely. They have a handful of militia, but they're completely unarmed.
Yeah.
One is a war, and a very well-armed war. The United States is arming it for the wrong reasons, but they're arming it. And then there's two genocides.
Yeah, and if you look at these pictures, how many of them are belong to Hamas? They even don't know the word Hamas, and here they are, got killed because of Israel want to eliminate all those children, and this is exactly what it called genocide.
Yes.
This is exactly what it is, the war crimes.
Can I say something about Hamas?
Yes, sure. Yeah, please.
I have very deep criticisms with Hamas. So do the Palestinians. So do Gazans. I have some very strong criticisms of their politics. I think that probably the politics are directed. The commandos in Gaza are directed from people living fairly comfortable lives in other countries, and from their Iranian sponsors. So I have very strong objections. I did not agree with the Hamas attack in Israel. I don't agree in attacks on civilians.
Yeah, true.
I didn't agree with taking hostages, especially elderly people, elderly women who have medical needs, or children. I don't agree with that. However, I want to say something about the Hamas commandos.
Mhm.
And this is not to defend Hamas, it's not to defend that action. These are young men, for the most part, young people, maybe there's some women. These are young people that grew up with genocide. They grew up with occupation. They grew up with apartheid. They grew up not able to eat properly, not able to leave, unemployed. They grew up seeing thousands of people around them bombed to death. Thousands of young men get their legs shot off and have to go on crutches and wheelchairs because snipers stood at the border and shot at the Great March of Return. They saw their family members bombed to death. They saw their fathers and mothers sent to military prisons and become political prisoners. That was their whole life. And I am not absolutely not capable. I know the Zionists try to use this against Palestinian solidarity. I'm incapable of not criticizing, yes, but condemning, no, because look where these young people came from. Look at the trauma. It's not, as someone has pointed out, PTSD. In Gaza and Kashmir, there is no post trauma. It's always an ongoing trauma, an ongoing genocide. They never are. There's always bombing in Gaza. There's no moment when they aren't traumatized, and so I can't bring myself to condemn them and call them terrorists and monsters. I can't do that because it's not the balance of power between an IDF soldier and a Gaza, a Hamas militiaman in Gaza is a like night and day. It's not the same thing. And I know that people will try to use that against Palestinian solidarity, but it's just not the same thing. Any more than I condemn young guerrilla fighters in Kashmir. They see no other option. They
Yeah.
don't. They're hopeless. So no, I can't bring. Even though I totally disagree with what they did in Israel, I totally disagree, and I detest their politics. I'm not in their shoes. I didn't grow up seeing my loved ones killed and disabled, traumatized. I didn't.
Very, very important point. And I think there is another side of this story. We all know that Israel is one of the strongest country in the world when it comes to
Yeah.
security and defense. And
Yes.
all the Western countries, they are helping the technology and infrastructure and everything. And despite of all this, one group of Hamas one day uh, defeat all those technology, all those equipment, all those surveillance, and kidnap so many people and kill so many. This is another mystery. I don't know, down the road, maybe one day
Yes.
we will know the real story behind this
Yes.
drama, because
Yes.
Hamas, you can, as you describe very well, but they are not as equipped to, invade Israel. So
Yes.
maybe there is a method behind this all madness.
Maybe there's some maneuvering of
Yeah,
Israel with Hamas.
yeah,
There's something
exactly.
there. It
And
doesn't add up that the most sophisticated surveillance state in the world and, couldn't foresee that coming. Couldn't foresee 1,000 young men taking paraglides over the border. I don't believe that that was not foreseen. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't get into the whole 9/11 thing because it can't be proven. But I have my suspicions about Israel not actually letting this happen, if not even being somehow involved.
there is another very concerning, that one of the Israeli government minister, he openly threatened to use the atomic bomb
Yes. Yes.
In
Two
yeah,
ministers.
two ministers. So
Yes.
I think that the Western countries should take it very serious,
Yes.
because we don't want to see another dark history of Nagasaki or Hiroshima right here in Middle East or in
Yes.
any part of the world.
Yes. And Israel is a psychotic state. Zionism has deranged its politicians. It's a very pernicious colonial supremacist ideology. They're not. It's a psycho state. It's not. It's like the United States State Department, quite frankly, or the CIA. It's a psycho state, and they can't be trusted with nuclear weapons. It's very terrifying.
Very terrified. So, thank you very much, Mary. It was very wonderful having you in my show and uh, knowing more about what we can do as a human being. It does not matter that what is our ethnic background, color, religion, or anything. This is all about the humanity, and wherever humanity is at stake or human rights are violated, we should, if in our bodies, if we have hearts and soul, uh, we should care about suffering of the people, especially the children, the women, and whatever is going on in Gaza right now. It is very unfortunate. And I think that the first and the most important thing is there should be a ceasefire immediately.
Yes.
To,
Yes. A ceasefire, and we should demand sanctions be placed on Israel.
yeah,
That people sever their military contracts, sever their trade agreements with Israel, put their money where their mouth is,
very
because
true.
they a few of them will denounce the genocide against the Palestinians, but they don't do anything. Jordan would be a classic example of that, where or Brazil, where they have billions of dollars in contracts for normalizing relationship with Israel, and they have the oldest normalization arrangement of all the Arab countries, and they come on and cry crocodile tears, but they don't sever those economic relations.
Yeah.
So yes, ceasefire now.
Ceasefire, yeah. And they have no food, no medicine, no electricity, no water. They are starving from Israeli bombing, killing them, and they have nothing to eat or drink or treat them in a situation in the middle of this terrible uh, catastrophe. That is the reason that we all as a human being should be just one voice: stop the war, stop
Yes,
genocide in
yes.
Gaza. Thank you very
I
much.
can I just say that I
Yeah,
believe
sure. Yeah, go ahead.
just one thing. I believe the demonstrations for Palestine, which I estimate to be worldwide, so far about 4 million people. There were 2 million in Indonesia, just Indonesia. I estimate are about 4 million people worldwide, and still continuing. That they're among the biggest demonstrations ever. I think even bigger than demonstrations against the Vietnam War. So, so there is the popular sentiment is for the Palestinian people, and
Yeah,
that's
ordinary people, when we see all those pictures, all terrible scenes, uh, I don't think that any human being can just sleep on that.
no,
It's not acceptable that Israel just go and bomb without any
no
distinction. That,
mercy.
yeah,
So that's, I'm sorry, I just,
yeah,
there's
no,
great hope. There's
yeah,
great hope.
yeah. Thank you very much, and we will keep in touch. And
Yes, thank
let's
you.
hope that next time when we uh, talk here, there is no more war, no more
Yes,
bombing, and no more killing. Thank you
yes,
very much. Take care,
thank you.
Mary.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.